Well, hello, this is Deepakism VIII, and I didn't get any feedback from anybody on Deepakism VII. Well, with the exception of Sagacious Girl. She sent me a message, and she's under the weather this week, so we don't have one of her wonderful response videos, but I hope everybody enjoyed doing the exercise about accepting ambiguity. I hope that the fact that I did a poem as my follow-up doesn't make people feel that maybe I was taking it lightly or anything like that. It's just that for me, I've had exposure to that particular exercise for about 10 years, and it was actually life-changing for me the first time I did it. But I've revisited that exercise several times over the course of those 10 years, and I've gotten to a point where I pretty much accept the ambiguity within myself, and so I just thought that I would make a poem. But so in any event, to piggyback on accepting ambiguity, I thought in the honor of spring, since we are officially in spring and the sun is out and the birds are out and people are out, that we would talk some more about love. Love and relationships. Some of you may be in a relationship right now, and some of you may not be. However, this can be helpful for times when you are in a relationship, and maybe things that you can reflect on in terms of relationships that you've been in the past. But in any event, again, we're going to read out of The Path to Love, and we're talking about the spirit of romance. I don't know what about spring brings romance out in people, but it definitely does. So I'd like to start with, I'm going to kind of jump back and forth. I'm not going to read directly out of the book. Or I am going to read directly out of the book, but I'm going to jump back and forth to different parts, because the basic premise that I'd like to start with is being shown a gesture of love is like being offered a portion of God. And I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory, but basically, through some of the exercises that we've done, we know that the people that we interact with are a mirror to ourselves, and that all of us are individual expressions of God. And so it does sort of follow that if you are with another person in an intimate way, in a relationship, that they are offering you love as a gesture from God. This particular chapter in the book was about Deepak Chopra when he was acting as a therapist, and he had a patient who was an older woman, and she had a lot of insecurities around the fact that she was dating a younger man. And these are some of the things that he said to her. You are only as attractive as you feel you deserve to be. This kind of piggybacks on our accepting ambiguity. If you have a strong acceptance for yourself, then you can have a higher feeling of deservedness from other people. Deservedness is the deep issue that beauty hides. Someone who is deserving can be open to love in all its spiritual significance. Someone who is not will be limited to love that includes fear, since what you don't deserve can always be taken from you. This issue of what you deserve arouses insecurity. Only if you put it in isolated terms. Spiritually, we are all totally deserving because we are all whole. If your being includes everything, how can you deserve one thing less than another? This sense of completeness isn't material. It doesn't consist of being absolutely beautiful, infinitely rich, or impeccably virtuous. The miracle of love is that you can be imperfect and still be completely whole. Evidently, this woman had quite a bit of anxiety around this, and he said, but the beginning of wisdom would be to take this opportunity to learn how to reconsider insecurity. Every time the woman in this chapter, I'm sorry if this is a little sketchy, every time she thinks, I'm too old, she should follow it with, that doubt isn't me. Every time she thinks, Alan is too young for me, she should follow it with, that insecurity isn't me. Every time she thinks, another woman is interested in my husband, she should follow it with, that suspicion isn't me. Bringing the issue home to herself instead of projecting it onto an external object will make it easier to face her responsibility for creating all of her false beliefs. And I think you can kind of insert whatever your particular issue might be in there. You know, it might not be an age thing, but you might be, you know, insecure about other women, or you might be insecure about your partner's friends, or anything like that. Situations mirror beliefs. Removing other people from the picture and bringing every moment of self-doubt back to its real source is the best way to stay focused on the truth. Clearly, she wanted her husband to say, I love you at times, yet she forces herself not to ask. She therefore pushes herself further into self-doubt by forbidding herself to ask for what she wants. This self-denial is a result of shame, an emotion closely connected to deservedness. You need to realize that asking to be loved is not only not shameful, it's exactly what one should do to get love. Shame tells us that love is a small, precious commodity that we have to beg for, like Oliver Twist begging for another bowl of soup. But love is abundant, and asking for it only reflects that you already perceive it to be yours. A lasting solution to whether you are deserving or not will only come spiritually. Here's something useful to write down as a reminder. Spirit is always with me. It wants to lift my pain. It does this by abolishing painful memories, but by putting me totally in the present where the past does not exist. The spiritual answer to any problem is immediate. It's our own perception that is slow to catch on. God's ability to love us is limited only by our ability to receive that love here and now. Since our loved ones represent manifested portions of God in our lives, the same could be said for them. To receive God's love, we need only increase our ability to receive the love being reflected back in our intimate relationships. And then he talks a little bit about pre-rejection, and that's where our last week's exercise comes into play. There were things about herself that she was rejecting before her husband even got a chance to tell her if he liked it or not. And this is what Deepak had to say. At an unconscious level, Jean's pre-rejection of herself has kept her on the lookout for the slightest reason that someone else should also reject her. The more accepting others are, the more she believes she has to be vigilant. The hidden belief here is that the more loving her husband is, the smaller the slip needed to destroy that love. In reality, love doesn't work this way. Alan's deepening love for his wife would make him accept and forgive more and more of what she sees as unworthy in herself. Thus, the spiritual truth is validated. The love you get is limited only by your ability to receive it. It's amazingly easy to shut someone else down. Without thinking about it, we let pass countless occasions during the day when love makes a tentative appearance. In other words, we turn our backs on spirit. Your beloved may start to say something nice or give you an affectionate touch or ask you how you are feeling. Notice how often this seed isn't allowed to grow, how quickly you simply cut the gesture off or take it for granted. In this way, you limit the love you are receiving rather than nurturing its faint beginnings. So, for this week, I just want us to think about love. I want us to think about our intimate relationships, even if it's with friends. And find times when normally we would take them for granted, but allow the love to be received by us. Allow them to touch us with that. And I'd really like it if people could share their experiences. And I'll leave you with this. Look into the eyes of your beloved and learn to believe that love is really there. The ego, with all its fears and self-interest, blocks your ability to perceive the portion of God that your beloved is offering you. Eventually, your expectations become self-fulfilling, and the more you shut down gestures of love, the less motivated your beloved will be to make them. It says it isn't easy to stop sending these automatic turn-off signals, but you can take the first step by refusing to believe that no when someone else sees you as lovable. Once you stop shutting love down, it will become easier to let no be replaced by yes. Good luck.